comfort when this world grows dark. Let it echo through the madness, let the message pull you through. This is our medal of honor to you.
And now, Armed Forces Weekly with Donna Lyons on TSPN.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Armed Forces Weekly. I am Donna Lyons. In the news, 7 U.S. service members were killed on Saturday in one of the deadliest days for Americans in Afghanistan in recent months, as the Taliban continued attacks against foreign troops as part of their spring offensive. The U.S.-led coalition reported that 5 international troops were killed by a roadside bomb in southern Afghanistan. It was confirmed they were all Americans. The coalition also reported that a soldier with the Afghan National Army turned his weapon on coalition troops in the west, killing 2, both Americans. Such attacks by members of the Afghan security forces against their fellow colleagues or international troops have eroded confidence in the Afghan forces as they work to take over from foreign forces. It was the 4th time since last summer that 7 Americans have been killed on a single day in the war. Authorities have said that the Air Force official in charge of its sexual assault prevention program was arrested for groping. Lieutenant Colonel Jeff Krasinski was removed from his position as head of Sexual Assault Prevention and Response Office pending an investigation. The incident happened just after midnight Sunday when a drunken Krasinski allegedly approached a woman in a parking lot in Arlington, Virginia, grabbed her, according to a police report. Police said the woman fought her assailant, and scratches can be seen on Krasinski's face in his mugshot. He was charged with sexual battery. It is confirmed that he has been removed from his position. His arrest comes as the U.S. military grapples with sexual assault in its ranks. The Air Force recently came under fire when a commander reversed a guilty verdict in a sexual assault case. And over the weekend, on a happy note, a horse named Normandy Invasion may not have won the Kentucky Derby, but he sure did win the hearts of veterans all over the United States. Rick Porter has been a businessman for 20 years, a former soldier, an auto dealer turned thoroughbred owner. He has been naming horses to honor veterans. Porter never saw combat but served in Korea for 2 years in the 1960s. He also never forgot a haunting visit to Normandy beaches in 1994, which was the 50th anniversary of the invasion that turned the tide in World War II. June 6, 1944, 160,000 Allied troops landed along a 50-mile stretch of heavily fortified French coastline to fight Nazi Germany on the beaches of Normandy. More than 5,000 ships and 13,000 aircraft supported the D-Day invasion. The D-Day coast was high. More than 9,000 Allied soldiers were killed or wounded, but more than 100,000 soldiers began the march across Europe to defeat Hitler. Last year, after 10 years on the inactive list, the name Normandy Invasion became available again, and Porter proudly snatched it up. It circulated the internet fast, and the emails from veterans followed. Porter answered as many as he could and finally settled on inviting 4 World War II veterans to be his guest. Alan Reeves, a 91-year-old World War II veteran of San Diego, was the organizer, which made plenty of sense because he worked for General Dwight Eisenhower, assigned to the Supreme Command, and later saw action in southern France. With Porter's help, he settled on 3 other soldiers who actually landed on the beaches at Normandy. For World War II veteran Bill Welch, this was an especially emotional experience. He brought his wife's picture with him, Mary Rita, because her dream was to be at the Kentucky Derby. She passed away before he could take her there. He held her picture tightly with tears in his eyes and said, "We finally made it." Normandy Invasion came in 4th at the Derby, but 1st place in the hearts of all World War II veterans across the nation. Memorial Day is approaching, and when you are out and about this time of year, most likely you will see veterans and volunteers passing out little red paper poppies prior to Memorial Day. The tiny red flower has helped raise millions of dollars, which goes to veteran rehabilitation and service programs, and also supports the VFW National Home for Orphans and Widows of our nation's veterans. The poppy goes back to the poem written by Colonel John McCrae titled "In Flanders Field," which describes the blowing fields of the poppies among the battleground of the fallen. The poppy was adopted as the official memorial flower in 1922 by the veterans of foreign wars. They are assembled by disabled and disadvantaged veterans who are paid for their work, providing them with a form of financial assistance and giving them a feeling of belonging by doing the job. When you see the veterans with the poppies, remember to them, it's all about veterans helping veterans and living up to the VFW's motto, honor the dead by helping the living. The poppy reiterates that the VFW will not forget the sacrifices of all men and women who have served and still serve today. Military spouses wear a uniform that is not readily seen. The Army Covenant recognizes that the strength of our soldiers comes from the strength of their families. This strength is the invisible uniform worn by military spouses. The uniform can be seen through the hard work and dedication of the spouses. Military Spouse Appreciation Day will fall on May 10th this year. It's observed on U.S. military posts worldwide. This day celebrates the strength and patriotism of spouses of all military service members. It's celebrated on the Friday before Mother's Day in the United States. President Ronald Reagan recognized the profound importance of spouse commitment to the readiness and well-being of military service members, and in 1984 declared the first Military Spouse Day. I have co-authored a book called 12 Army Wives Give the Best Advice They Never Got. In our book, there are many years of experienced spouses giving sound advice. One of them is retired four-star Peter Corelli's wife, Beth Corelli. She talks about her own experiences within the military life. Reading a book of this kind really gives insight into the commitment, hard work, and dedication of our military spouses. If you are interested in reading our book, you can find it in bookstores around the country and online. And with Memorial Day approaching, thousands come from all over around the world to observe Rolling Thunder on the weekend in Washington, D.C. It's the time when Rolling Thunder brings awareness to prisoners of war and to those still missing in action. They roll in mass formation through the Capitol streets on their motorcycles as a tribute to those who have served our country. While thousands of people line the streets and thousands of motorcycles roar from the Pentagon through D.C., there's a sole Marine who stands at attention every year in the middle of the street, Staff Sergeant Tim Chambers. Chambers' impulsive march into the middle of the street more than 10 years ago to honor thousands of veterans riding in Rolling Thunder was the beginning of a commitment he has now made year after year. A salute which he holds until the last rider passes is his way of displaying his admiration, respect, and reverence for our men and women in uniform. Tim was once asked, "Why the salute? Why the whole time?" His answer was astute. It's about the pain. A lot of these heroic guys still hurt, and if I can relieve their pain for one brief moment, then I've done my job. A salute is known to everyone, he added. We salute our president, dignitaries, flags, our dead. It's a national sign of respect to those who have sacrificed and served. Tim Chambers joined the Marines after high school in 1994. He lived in D.C. for a while. He would go where Rolling Thunder would be and dress uniform and shake hands of veterans, thanking them for their service. He said he was trying to figure out a way he could reach all of them at once, so he jumped in the middle of the street and rendered a salute. There he stood for over 4 hours without a flinch. Chambers said his determination to thank each and every veteran and the events of September 11th are what drove him to the street over 10 years ago, and it's what keeps him coming back today. The Marine now stands proudly day of Rolling Thunder's return, saluting, wearing his dress uniform, medals polished, and shimmering in the sun. He stands majestically like a lion, ever vigilant, regardless of the weather extremes, a true testament to the stamina, the resilience, and the self-sacrifice of this steadfast Marine. Veteran after veteran rides by and salutes the Marine back. Despite numerous health challenges, Chambers hasn't missed a Rolling Thunder since he started becoming a legend, recognized by millions. While Tim Chambers' annual salute, which lasts 3 to 4 hours, is a feat in itself, a serious medical condition has made the last 3 years especially challenging for him. After surgery in 2005, he contracted a serious bacterial infection. It invaded his back muscles and caused flare-ups that required intense therapy. The recurring illness contributed to Chambers' decision to leave the Marines in 2009. For the last 3 years, Chambers has suffered flare-ups just prior to Rolling Thunder. In 2011, he was hospitalized several months before the Memorial Day weekend. Added to that, he had also broken his right wrist. He said the first hour is always hell, but even he clearly struggles and sweats in the heat and pain. He held his salute until the last bike passed. Tim hails from a military family. His father served as a Marine in Vietnam, and his grandfather served in the Coast Guard during World War II. As Memorial Day approaches, please remember the purpose of the day, to remember those that have fought and served this great nation, and remember those who have made the ultimate sacrifice. We are going to go to a commercial break, and we will be back with our guest. Thank you.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.